Hey, you beautiful humans. You're listening. It's Tree, and you're listening to Morning Mind Dump with Tree. Thank you so much for being here, for pressing play, for supporting this widely heartfelt, sometimes a little unhinged passion project of mine. If anything I share today resonates, please like, share, comment, do a little digital hug for the algorithms. It does truly help this community grow. And before we dive in, let's pause for just a moment. Let's take a breath. Drop your shoulders, unclench your jaw, ground yourself where you are, open your mind to another perspective. You don't have to agree with everything I say. These are just my thoughts, my stories, my lived experiences. Take what resonates and leave the rest, of course. Now, I'm telling you right now, after this podcast, Frosty the Snowman is about to become your unexpected spiritual guide. Yes, a snowman with a hat. Stay with me. In today's episode, we're going to talk about identity and the essence before the world got involved, the magical hats we wear that aren't really ours, and why melting isn't failure. It's often seasonal. All right, sip your coffee and let's jump in it. So Frosty comes to life, joyful, curious, and completely himself. I haven't watched this video in like a year, right? And so this is my new perspective on it since my self-discovery journey. So Frosty comes to life, joyful, curious, and completely himself, right? No backstory, no trauma, resume, no explanation needed. You know, he doesn't ask, who should I be? He just says, hi, let's live. Spiritually, that's essence energy. That's before expectations, responsibility, and the be realistic entered the chat. Self-discovery isn't about upgrading yourself. It's about remembering who you were before you learned to shrink. So the magic hat, it brings Frosty to life, right? But it doesn't belong to him. And if we're being honest, most of us have worn a hat like that. The people pleaser hat, the don't be too much hat, the job/relationship defines me hat. Borrowed magic can wake you up, but it can't sustain you. Self-discovery starts when you ask, what parts of my life feel alive, but don't feel like me? If you're constantly adjusting the hat so it doesn't fall off, it might not be yours. So Frosty melts because the environment isn't built for him, right? Let's read that again. Frosty melts because the environment isn't built for him. He's not weak, he's not broken, he's just in the wrong temperature. If you feel like you're constantly burning out, shrinking, or quietly evaporating, it might not be a personal flaw. It might be just an environment issue. You don't need thicker skin. You don't need safer spaces. Sometimes self-discovery isn't about fixing yourself. It's about relocating your energy. So now we got Karen, right? Cute little girl, never doubts Frosty. She believes in him, she protects him, she trusts her knowing. She goes to the North Pole with him. She didn't get permission from her mom, though. And I'm sure she didn't make it back for dinner. But anyway, that is your inner child, right? The part of you that knew what loved before practicality took over. The part that didn't need permission to feel joy. Self-discovery often means circling back and asking, what did younger me already know that adult me ignored? And let me give you a hint. It probably involved play, creativity, and wonder, and not productivity. So now we have Professor Hinkle, right? He isn't evil. He's afraid. He thinks the hat is magic, and he thinks that it's gonna, make him famous or whatever and give him things that he needs. That's his ego energy. The ego says, if I just get this thing, then I'll be enough. And the soul says, you were enough before this thing. Self-discovery is the moment you stop chasing the hat and start trusting your own spark. So here's the piece that really softened me. Frosty is made out of Christmas snow, right? So yeah, he might melt. He might disappear for a while. He might be gone for a whole year. But he'll be back next year. And that's an amazing lesson, actually. Sometimes joy is quiet. Sometimes creativity rests. Sometimes we step away from who we really are while we survive, heal, or just figure things out. And that doesn't mean that it's gone forever. It just means that it's not the season. You're allowed to ebb and flow. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to disappear for a bit and come back when the condition is right. Because you don't see it right now doesn't mean it isn't coming back. So here's my takeaway. Tree of wisdom, if you will. You're not melting because you're failing. You're melting because you're magic in the wrong temperature or the wrong season. Stop chasing the hat. Honor your seasons and trust that even if the parts of you go quiet, they know when to return. And this came to me because I had talked to somebody on the phone who was having difficulty. And I just kept reminding this person, life is, shitty right now. And I don't know what to do. And this and this and this is happening. And I just said, remember to breathe, stay present, take baby steps. It's just a moment, right? Like, we forget that we've gone through stuff before that is crappy and we overcame it, right? And we forget that when something new crappy comes along and like, oh my god, this is, the end of the world and how am I going to handle this? And it becomes labeled as a trauma. And if we step back and look at the situation and label it, is what I'm learning. Label it and go, okay, this is not okay. What can I do to make things better? For people who are going through custody with their ex, I don't know, but I've heard, there's lots of paperwork and a lot of stress involved in trying to get custody. And I had one friend who was, freaking out about it. It took almost a year. I think it was like 18 months or something that this person could see their child again. But they did. So you just have to keep doing what you need to do in order to make it happen, right? It's baby steps. The reason why I mention this is because we all have seasons that we go through. And we might get a hat that we don't like. And, we lose our hat. And now we feel like we don't have our magic anymore. But just like Frosty, he just needed cold wind to get him alive again. Right? He needed a pick-me-up. So, yes, I'm comparing us to Frosty the Snowman. And, I know I won't ever see this animated children's cartoon ever again the same. Well, you don't realize the lesson. I don't even know if that was the lesson that they were supposed to be teaching. I'm going to have to Google that. I should have Googled it before I recorded this, but yeah, that's my takeaway on Frosty the Snowman because I just sat here and watched it. Of course, I start philosophizing everything. What does this mean? Because I'm just here by myself, right? Anyway, here's my poll for today. Which Frosty lesson hit you the hardest? Remembering my true self, letting go of identity hats, finding better environments, or trusting seasons and coming back? Please, please, please drop your answer in the comments below. I love hearing your thoughts. And if you have a different thought on what the lessons are in Frosty the Snowman, please, please, please write them in the comments. I'd like to hear another take on it. So that's it for today's Morning Mind Dump. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. If you enjoyed our chat today, the most wonderful and completely free way to support this passion project of mine is to simply engage with this video. When you leave a comment or you give a thumbs up, it tells the magical internet algorithm to share this content with other amazing people who might need it. And it truly makes a huge difference in helping our community grow. And of course, if you feel called to do more and you want to support my hot chocolate fund, I do love a good hot chocolate as a ceremonial nighttime ritual. And I do this every night For myself, I love chocolate. Nice warm cup of hot chocolate. Even in the summertime. I do like organic products, so it gets pretty pricey, but it's one thing that I can do for myself every day. So if you'd like to support me, the donation link is always in the description box below. And until next time, pour your coffee, your hot chocolate, your tea, or your boba tea. I can't drink that stuff. Make sure you stay grounded and be kind to your mind. Much love and hugs. Have a great day.